Hey, what's up guys? Thank you so much for clicking. Welcome back to another exclusive tutorial. If you are new here, please smash that subscribe button down below. Turn on your post notifications so you do not miss out on any of my detailed tutorials. For today's video, I'll be teaching you how to crochet this simple bodycon shell dress using the shell stitch mainly, which contains of double crochet stitches. This dress pattern can be adjusted for all sizes. All the extra information needed for this pattern will be in the description box down below. Please check out other dress patterns I made by clicking the I above, or better still, check the description box for the direct link. Let's stay connected. Please remember to tag me in your posts on Instagram so that you do not miss out on joining the other beauties on my Instagram highlights as well. Don't forget to smash that like button. It helps this video grow as well. For this dress pattern, I'll be using this 100% cotton yarn from the brand Ice Yarns. This is one of my favorite yarns so far. Very comfortable on the skin and easy to work with. You can purchase these on their website, or better still, if you are in Ghana, you can contact YarnYardGH on Instagram. You will also need a pair of scissors. I will also be using the 3.0mm hook. However, you can use any hook specified for the type of yarn you select. You will also need a tape measure to measure the vital areas, and finally some stitch markers. So first of all, you are going to make a basic slip knot, and to make your slip knot, you take your yarn, place it on your finger just like this. Use your thumb to hold it in place and cross. So you cross it this way, and then you pull the strand from the back. So insert your hook, pull the strand from the back, release your hand from the space, grab these two loops and pull tight. So you have this space which will be the slip knot, and then you are going to make sure that you use your index finger to grab the longer yarn and then pull tight. So you wrap it around your hand, pull tight and hold it in place. So you are going to make a chain of 38 for a size medium, and I'll try as much as possible to leave the size chart for each basic chain we are going to make for each size in the description box down below. At this moment, the number of chains you are going to make is going to include where exactly the stickers are pointing. So therefore, it is actually the length of the bust, and you are going to extend the coverage towards your belly button. So I'm going to make a chain of 38. After making a base chain of 38, you are going to wrap the yarn around the hook and make a chain of 3 extra. So you are going to count to the 4th space from the hook and then place a double crochet there. So a double crochet is wrap the yarn around the hook as seen, insert into the 4th space, pull through. You have 3 on the hook, pull through 2 and then pull through 2. So you are going to put another double crochet there in the same exact space. So you have 2 now, and then you are going to add another 4, making a total of 6. So now, since the chain 3 counts as a stitch, you add an additional 3, making a total of 6 in total if you count the chain 3 as a stitch. You must have a total of 5 double crochets in the same space. So now you are going to count to the 3rd space. So 1, 2, 3, and do a basic slip stitch. Next, you are going to chain up a total of 3. 1, 2, 3. To the 3rd space, 1, 2, 3, and then do a basic slip stitch. Create a double crochet without making any chain, but first wrap the yarn around the hook, count to the 3rd space, 1, 2, 3, put a double crochet there. So you are going to add a total of 5 more in the same space, making a total of 6 double crochets. So now you count to the third space, so 1 2 3, and then do a basic slip stitch. Chain up 3, 1 2 3, skip the next 3 chains, 1 2 3, and slip stitch into the third space. Skip the next 2 chains and slip stitch into the third space. Now wrap the yarn around the hook, count to the third space, so 1 2 3, put a total of 6 double crochets in the same exact space. So now count to the third space, 1 2 3, and then slip stitch. So you are going to do this interchangeably, and as I said, however chains you made for your dress pattern, or the beginning or the base chain, you go ahead to making sure that you repeat this simultaneously with your 6 double crochets in the same space, but make sure you skip the 3 chains, and then you also repeat the chain 3 and then slip stitch into the third space. So I'm going to demonstrate this till I get to the end of the row. So as usual, you chain up 3, skip the 2 space and slip stitch into the third. Now wrap the yarn around the hook, skip the next 3 chains and put a total of 6 double crochets. Now you skip the next 3 chains again, slip stitch into the next 2 chains and slip stitch into the third. Chain up 1 2 3, skip the 2 space and slip stitch into the third space. Wrap the yarn around the hook, skip the next 2 chain, and in the last put a total of 6, and now end with a double crochet. So the reason why you have to end with a double crochet is that you need to keep the straight edge as much as possible for this dress pattern. So in total you have 1 2 3 4 5, a total of 5 shelves separated by chain 3 spaces in between. The next is going to be the same double crochets, except that it will be separated by chain 1 spaces. So to begin the next row, you chain up 3, turn over your work, double crochet into the next double crochet. So just move ahead and double crochet into the next double crochet. You chain up 1, move to the next space and put a double crochet there. Chain up 1, move to the next space, put a double crochet there. Chain up 1, move to the next space, put a double crochet there. Chain up 1, move to the next, put a double crochet there. So you have to count, except that the chain 3 from the previous for this beginning row is not part. So you have 1 2 3 4 5, so you're supposed to have 6 in total. So chain up your last one and put your final double crochet here. So you are going to have a total of 6. The chain 3 is separate from this. So now chain up 2, single crochet into the middle of the chain 3. So just put a single crochet there, just like this. Chain up 2, put a double crochet directly into the very first double crochet for the shell design. So you put a double crochet there, chain 1, double crochet into the next, 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 chain 1, double crochet into the next. So you are supposed to have a total of 6 double crochets with chain 1 separating it. So this is going to be the repetition. When we are getting to the chain 3 from the previous row, you chain up 2, single crochet in the middle space, and then you chain up 2 again and put a double crochet directly on the very first double crochet for the shell design. Make sure you separate them by chain 1 spaces. So just count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when you are done with your final double crochet, you chain up 2, single crochet into the middle of the chain 3, chain up 2, and then put a double crochet in the very first, chain 1, and do the usual thing all around the shell to get here, and then you repeat the same for the very last one too. So now getting to the end, I already made my double crochet, chain 1, double crochet along the shells. I'm approaching the end. As I told you, make sure it's 6 in total. So this is the 4th one, this is the 5th, this is the 6th, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then basically end with a double crochet, which is normally tight at the very last space. Chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, turn over your work, put a double crochet in the very next double crochet. What you are going to do is to chain 1, 2, you chain up 4, and now you skip the next double crochet, the one over here, this double crochet, you skip the space after, and then the next double crochet. So you are going to put a basic single crochet in the following space. So insert your hook, pull through. When you have 2 on the hook, pull through all 2 loops, whole space, and there's a double crochet here, and also there's a double crochet here. So this is the space you placed your single crochet. You chain up 4 again, skip this double crochet, skip this space, skip the next double crochet, and put a single crochet in the next space, just like this. So in total, you are going to have a total of 2 chain 4s on top of this shell design. And as I told you, to be secured, you must always end with a double crochet. So I started with a chain 3, and I placed a double crochet in the next, and then I chained, skip this double crochet, the space, and then a double crochet after, place a single crochet in the next space. So it's kind of the second space. So there's the first space and there's the second space. You do the same thing, you skip the space and put a single crochet into the second space. So now you are going to chain up 4 again. This time you are going to skip this chain 2 from the previous row, and this chain 2 as well. You remember that we did a chain 2, single crochet in the middle, and a chain 2. So you're going to skip this 2 and then put a single crochet in the very first space for the whole shell design, for this next shell design. So you chain up 4 again, and then you skip this space and put a single crochet in the following. That means you are skipping this double crochet and then this one. So this space, you are not going to put a single crochet there, you are going to move to the next space and put a single crochet there. So now you are going to do the same thing repetitively till you get to the end of the row. Just chain up 4, skip this space, put a single crochet in the next, chain up 4, skip this 2 chain 2s and single crochet into the very first space for the new shell, chain up 4, skip this space, put a single crochet in the next, chain up 4, skip this space, put a single crochet in the next, and then chain up 4 again, skip this 2 chain 2s and put a single crochet in the first, chain up 4, skip this space, put a single crochet in the next. So now you are going to repeat this till the end of the row. Make sure you chain 4, skip the next space and single crochet into the following. When you are getting to the chain 2 from the 2 chain 2s, you skip the space and single crochet till you get to the end of the row. And now these are the final 2 double crochets left. You just yarn over, put a double crochet in the next double crochet. It's going to be very tight, but make sure you put a double crochet there, and then put your final double crochet in the last on top of the chain 3 from the previous row. So this row was basically consistent of only chains. That will be the third row for this section or this design. So the next row, which is row 4, is going to be a simple row as well if you pay attention. So as usual, you chain up 4, and now always put your double crochet on top of the following double crochet. We are trying to maintain a straight edge. That is why I maintain this technique for the dress. So now you are going to chain up a total of 4 again, single crochet into the middle of the chain 4 from the previous row, chain up 4 again, single crochet into the next space, which is the chain 4 from the previous row. Now you are going to put a total of 6 double crochet in this chain 4 space. So you are not going to chain anything, you just wrap the yarn around the hook, insert into the space, put a double crochet there, and put 5 more double crochets, making a total of 6. You now have a total of 6 double crochets in this space. This is because we are going to spring up a new design like how we did here, basically in this section in between, and that's how this design works. So now after putting a total of 6, you just single crochet into the next space just like this, and now you chain up 4 again, single crochet into the following space. Now you are going to put a total of 6 double crochets in this exact space, which was the chain 4 on top of the chain 2, single crochet, chain 2 from the previous row. So make sure you put a total of 6 double crochets. So you now have 6 double crochets in this same exact space. 1 2 3. Make sure it's 6 always. That's why it's essential to count in order to be sure. So next you put a single crochet in the following, and then you chain up your 4. 1 2 3 4, single crochet into the next. So into the next piece, single crochet, and now you are going to put a total of 6 double crochets in this space. So 1 2 6. You go into the next space, just put a single crochet there, chain up 4. 1 2 3 4, single crochet into the next space, move directly into the following space with a total of 6 double crochets, single crochet into the following space, chain up 4, single crochet into the next space. Now put a double crochet in the next double crochet, and then the final double crochet in the chain 3 from the previous row. So you always end with a total of 2 to maintain the straight edge, and this is basically how this row is going to be. So now for row 5, it's going to be the same repetition as row 2, where we did the chain 1 in between the total of 6 double crochets, and that's when we chained up 2 and single crochet into the space and chain 2. So basically you can repeat from row 2, or you can just continue and watch how I do this. So you chain up 3, turn over your work as usual, put your double crochet into the next 2, maintain the straight edge. You chain up 2, single crochet into the space, the next space, chain up 2, then put your very first double crochet on top of the very first double crochet for the shell. So just put a double crochet, make sure you separate them by chain 1. So you are going to do a total of 6 double crochets separated by chain 1. So chain 1, double crochet here, now you are going to chain up a total of 2, single crochet into the chain 4 from the previous row, chain up 2 again, put a direct double crochet on top of the very first double crochet for the shell, So that's how this row 5 repeat is going to be the same as row 2. And I want you guys to have a clearer understanding of this. That is why I like to repeat them. So just chain 1 and make sure you have a total of 6 chains, double crochet separated by chain 1 spaces. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So you have your total of 6 double crochet separated by chain 1. So next you chain up your 2 single crochet into the space as usual. You chain up 2 again, put your direct double crochet on top of the very first double crochet for this whole 6 double crochet shell. The rest of the section for all these shells is going to be repetition. Make sure you have your total of 6 double crochet separated by chain 1. Make sure you count in place. When you get to the chain 4 from the previous row, chain 2 single crochet, chain 2, and continue with your shell separated by chain 1 spaces till you get to the end of the row. As usual, you chain up your 2 single crochet in the middle, you chain up your 2, put a double crochet here, and then a double crochet in the last. So I hope you realize this. From the beginning we had 5 shells, but for this next section we have a total of 4 shells. 6 gets interesting. It's the same repetition as row 3, but I'll still demonstrate to you how to go about it. So for row 6 you chain up a total of 3, turn over your work, and then put a double crochet on top of the following double crochet. So now you realize that we had this chain 2 single crochet, chain 2 for the previous row. So what you are going to do is to chain up 4, skip this whole procedure, these 2 chain 2s, and then move to the following space, which is the very first space for the shell, and put a single crochet there. So now you chain up 4. Now skip this whole space, this full space, and then put a single crochet in the next space. So you realize that you have a double crochet, chain 1 double crochet here. So that space is what you are going to skip, and I hope you don't get confused. So now you chain up 4 again, skip this whole space and single crochet into the next. Now chain up 4 once again, skip these 2 chain 2s and single crochet into the very first space for the next shell. You chain up 4 again, skip the next space, put a single crochet in the following, chain up 4, skip the next space, put a single crochet in the following. Now it's time for you to skip these 2 spaces. So you chain up 4 once again, skip these 2 spaces and put your very first single crochet, put your single crochet in the very first space for the next shell. You chain up 4, skip this space, put a single crochet in the next, chain up 4, skip this space, put a single crochet in the next. You chain up 4 again, skip these 2 chain 2s and put a single crochet here, chain up 4, skip this space, put a single crochet in the next, chain up 4, skip this space, put a single crochet in the next. And this time we are going to chain up a total of 4, skip the 2 spaces here, put a double crochet in this on top of this double crochet, and then your final double crochet, the very last double crochet. So that's how row 6 basically works. It's the same repetition as row 3 for this section, as row 5 was the same as row 2. So basically it just includes only chains. Or the next row, which is row 7, is going to be equivalent to row 4. So to do that, you chain up 3. This time I'm going to skip this double crochet, put a total of 6 double crochets in this same space, because this is the time where we are going to spring a new shell design in between the design. So make sure it's a total of 6, exempting the chain 3 that you made. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. So you are going to move to the next space and put a single crochet there to secure the shell. Now you chain up 4 again, single crochet into the next space, and then you meet your next space where you are going to put a total of 6 double crochets, 5 and 6. Now you are going to put a single crochet into the next space, so just single crochet, and then you have your shell. You have 2 shells for this one so far, because you are creating your total of 6 in between, and then you are closing up the shell which you made from the previous row. So now you have the same repeats as row 1 and row 4. So you have this same repeat for this section, and then you realize that you have a chain 4 in between, like how we had for row 1. Just here, I know you can't see it clearly, but that's the same exact repetition we are having over here, which means we are springing out a new shell design which is going to develop, and then we create another one for the side and side as well. So that's how this pattern works. So you chain up 4, single crochet into the next space, and then you are not going to make any chain. You just move directly into the next space with a total of 6 double crochets. Move to the next space with a single crochet, and now you have 3 shells. Chain up 4, single crochet into the next space. Now this is the next space where you are going to put your total of 8, so move to the space with a total of 8 double crochets. Now single crochet into this space, which is the next space. Chain up 4, single crochet into the next. This is the very final space where you are going to put your total of 6 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 6. So now you are going to end with a double crochet. Just skip this one and put a double crochet in the very last. Double crochet, and this time you have 5, like how we started from the beginning of the row. You realize that we had 5 shells, and the next shell we developed was 4. So after we continue developing this next shell, which is 5, the following will be 4, and that's how the repetition is going to be simultaneously, except that you can replay from row 1. As we just did row 1, the next row is equivalent to row 2, and we are going to do the same exact thing again. So I'll still demonstrate to you, but first chain up your 3 to begin the next row, and then put a double crochet in the next stitch. So now chain 1 and then put a double crochet in the next. So excluding the chain 3, you are supposed to have a total of 6 double crochets with chain 1 separating them. So let me count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have your 6 now, and after you do this, you chain up your 2. This is the section where you single crochet into the middle. So you chain up 2, single crochet into the middle of the next space. You chain up 2 again and put your very first double crochet on top of the very first for this next shell. So just put your double crochet there, and now the rest of the double crochets you are going to make will be separated by chain 1 spaces. After repeating a total of 6 double crochets with chain 1 separating, you repeat this simultaneously till you get to the end of the row. So guys, I'm almost ending my row, and I made sure I had my total of 6 double crochets with chain 1 separating. So this is the chain 3 from the previous row, and I'm going to end my row with a double crochet on top of that chain 3. And then that's basically it, guys. The next row, which is going to be row 9, will be equivalent to row 3 and 6, which includes only chains, and you are going to involve yourself in this simultaneous repetition so you cover enough from this front panel. So I'll be giving you a picture demonstration of where exactly you need to cover, and it depends on how you want your dress. You can involve yourself in repeating such that the dress will be high-waisted a little, such that there will be more coverage for the back, and I made mine a little bit waisted, so it depends on what you want. So basically, I'll be leaving the extra information you need for other sizes down in the description box, and I'll be leaving the number of rows you need. If you're using the same weight of yarn I use for this project, you should have no issues. But I want to give you a short disclaimer that each pattern contains a row of 3. So if you have this in mind, you will keep going, and if you keep on with your straight edge, you'll be able to conquer this pattern and do your repetition till how long you need, as I told you, to the belly button. After you chain up 4 and you skip the space, as I told you, when you are getting to the end or when you are beginning, you skip 2 spaces instead of 1 like how we did for the previous row. So you are going to skip this space, and then put a double crochet on top of this double crochet directly. So just place a double crochet there, and then you put your last double crochet on top of the chain 3 from the previous row, and that's how this row basically ends. As I told you, the variation is only for the beginning, which is here, and then the end. So this is actually row 10, and it's equivalent to the very first row, which is row 1 of this row, or basically row 4. So you can repeat row 1, or basically you should figure out how to go about this, because this is the side where we create a new shell which is going to develop as time goes by. So this time the shell is going to be 4 instead of 5. You realize that the very beginning was 5, the next was 4, this one is 5, so the following will be 4, and that's what the repetition is going to be simultaneously. We are going to basically start a v-neck feature in this section, which is going to be later, but basically we are concentrating on building the front portion towards the waist area. So guys, I just want to give you a quick demonstration of how my progress is going from the beginning. When I start new rows, you realize that I had 4 shells, and this time I'm going to begin with a shell because we are supposed to have a total of 5 for this section. As I told you, it will be repetition simultaneously, and I want you to have this at the back of your mind. If you are able to capture this, well, you'll be able to have your straight edge that you need for the front portion. So I'm almost done with my row. You realize that the shells are 5 for this exact row, and I've already placed my total of 6 in the last space. And as I told you, always end with your total of 2 double crochets if need be, to maintain the straight edge, and the repetition will be simultaneous till you are satisfied with the length of the front panel. So guys, I made a total of 27 rows for my size medium to large. It can be adjusted by adding 3 extra rows each for your size, and then working along till you get to your belly button, which is essential for this pattern. So this actually measures from the bust area, covers a little on top of the bust area to the belly button. As I'll be putting a picture demonstrating the exact place which will cover. So now it's time for us to improvise by making the waist area, and then now we'll be working rounds from the back to the front, one that has chain 1 in between. So now I'm going to make a number of chains which will cover from my back area, and then I reconnect to this other side so that I can work my next row of stitches. So the number of chains, I ended this at this section, and now the number of chains I'm going to make will determine the measurement from your back. So you can just basically take your waist, your measuring tape, and then measure your whole waist, and then you can improvise. So you subtract the amount that you measured for the front panel from it, and then you make a number of chains enough to cover your back area. So I'm going to reattach here. So I'll tell you the number of chains I'll end up making for my back area, because the front panel is now covered. So I'll meet you when you are done with your number of chains. So now I made a total of 54 chains, and I would like to tell you that it's better for you to put it around your body to ensure that it fits in that manner before you slip stitch to join at this side. So I chain from here, and I'm basically going to take my hook and insert into the very first double crochet, and then slip stitch. So you just pull the yarn and then slip stitch tightly. So now you are going to work in this section, and basically this section is going to be sections of chaining. So regularly you just chain and skip the spaces as usual and then continue. So we are going to apply this, and we are going to apply the same technique for the back panel as well. So to do that, you chain up 1 2 3 4, sorry, 3 instead. You chain up 3, and then you put a double crochet on top of the next double crochet, which serves as the first double crochet for the shell. After that, you are going to chain up a total of 4. After chaining 4, you skip the next space and the space after. As I told you, this is the only variation where you skip 2 spaces instead, and then put a single crochet into the next space. So you are basically skipping this space and then the space after. So the rest of the rows you just skip 1 space instead, and this happens at the ends of this side. So at this side and then this side, you understand as time goes by. So you chain up 4 again, and this time you skip only 1 space and put a single crochet into the next. So now you are going to chain up 4 once again, skip this 2 chain 2 from the previous row and single crochet into the very first space for the next shell. Chain up 4 once again, skip the next space here and single crochet into the following space and single crochet into the following. You chain up 4 again, skip this chain 2 chain 2s and single crochet in the very first space for the next shell. And that's how it works basically. It's just rows of chaining. This basically is row of chaining. So I'll just you just complete this section by chaining 4 and skipping the next space, single crochet into the next, and then chaining as usual, and then skipping the space, skipping the pod, these 2 spaces, and single crocheting into the next. I'm going to repeat this. I'll meet you exactly at this section and I'll show you what to do next. So let me put my stitch marker there so that you don't get confused. So I'll meet you here. So we are almost at where we place the stitch marker. I already chained 4. Instead of skipping the space and putting a single crochet, you are going to remove your stitch marker and put a double crochet in that space, and then put your next double crochet in the next double crochet on top of the next double crochet. So we are now swiftly moving towards the chain space. This is where we chain for the back portion. For this section, it's going to include only chains. So you are going to do the exact similar thing you did for this section. So to do that, you chain up 1 2 3. Now you chain up 4 instead. You skip 3 chains, so 1 2 3, and then single crochet into the 4th space, just like this. You chain up 3 this time. You skip 2 spaces and then single crochet into the 3rd. You chain up 3 once again, skip the next 2 spaces and single crochet into the 3rd. So now the next session is to chain up 4. So 1 2 3 4. You skip 3 spaces, so 1 2 3, and single crochet into the 4th, just like this. The next one is going to be a chain 3. So you chain 1 2 3. You skip 2 spaces and single crochet into the 3rd space. So that's how it's basically working right now. You realize that there are sections where you do a chain 4 and it happens in between the chain 3s. So these are the next chain 3. This is a chain 4, which is a little bit wider, just like that. And then this is the next chain 3. So you are going to repeat the chain 3 again. So just chain 3, skip the next 2 spaces and single crochet into the 3rd space. 1 2 3 4. This time you are going to skip 3 spaces and single crochet into the 4th space. So that's how it's going to basically work. The next 2 is going to be chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, and then the one in between will be chain 4. So I'll meet you at the end of the row, which is exactly here, and I like to place my stitch marker there. So guys, I'm getting to where I place my stitch markers, and these are the two chain threes following after the chain 4. So this is exactly the chain 4 that we just did, and then this is going to be another chain 4. So the chain 3 is always in between. So the next thing we are going to do is the chain 4, and basically you have to improvise in order to always end with a chain 4. That is why I chained an even number, and then you can make your adjustments whenever you have to, so that you always end with a chain 4. So no matter how you end, maybe you can have a chain 5 or a chain 6, just make sure that you just chain 4. It doesn't matter, because you need to improvise in this sector. We need the chain 4 to end. So you chain up 1 2 3 4, and then you slip stitch in the very first double crochet. So you just slip stitch swiftly, and then you are done basically with the base of the hip, the dress pattern. So this is the waist of the dress pattern, and now we are going to work towards this direction, repeating the pattern in order to get the amount we need. And since it's a little bit stretchy, I love the soft texture of this yarn. It can accommodate for the hip area, so you can make some few adjustments, but basically this pattern is going to be repetitive and very easy, and I'm going to explain this into details. So after you slip stitch, you are now going to turn into this section. So you are now going to work towards the back portion. So you are going to work your stitches towards this side instead of working it this way. I hope you get it. So you insert your hook now, and then you chain up 3 as usual to begin your next row. After chain up 3, this is the very first chain 4 from the previous row. This is the last chain 4 we did. So we are going to put a total of 6 double crochets inside, excluding the chain 3. So when the chain 3 is added, you must have 7. So make sure you put a total of 6 in this space. This is the second one, this is the third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So you have a total of 6 double crochets in this space, and this is basically the springing of a new shell, which will be developing as time goes by. So after doing that, you are going to move directly into the next space, which is the chain 3. So you just move directly into the space, single crochet, and then chain up 1 2 3 4, single crochet into the next space you find. So these are the 2 chain 3s you did from the previous row, and this is the chain 4 we did. So these are the chain 3s, and then you just single crochet, chain 4, and single crochet into the next. So this is the next chain 4 we did from the previous row. This is where we are going to put a total of 6 double crochets, and that's how this pattern works. So you now have your 6 double crochets here. You directly go into the next space with a single crochet, and then you chain up your 4, 1 2 3 4, or you just go directly into the following space just like this and single crochet. And then the next space, which was a chain 4 from the previous row, we are going to put a total of 6 double crochets. After putting in your total of 6 double crochets, sorry for that, you still do your repetition. Make sure you put your single crochet in the next. You chain up 1 2 3 4, and then single crochet into the following. This is where you are going to put your total of 6. After putting your total of 6 double crochet, which is always in the chain 4 space we made from the previous row, you make sure you do this repetitively till you get to where the front panel is, and I'll meet you there. So after putting your total of 6 double crochets in this space, you are basically moving to the front section, and you have to continue with the pattern as well in the same direction as the back. So let me just give you a demonstration on how to do it. Make sure you put your double crochet on top of the next double crochet. You realize that there are 2 double crochets, and then you put your double crochet in the next as well. So you have your 2 double crochets line separated from the shell design we created for the back. So this time you are going to make a chain of 4, skip this whole space, skip this space, and then put a single crochet into the next, just like this. Now you are not going to make any chains. This is the section where we are going to put a total of 6 double crochets in the same exact space. So just swiftly put your 6 double crochets like this, and you have your very first shelf for the front panel. So you are going to repeat this thing like it's easy from here. You're basically going to repeat all till you get to where the stitch marker is. I'm going to place my stitch marker, do a few demonstration for you so you don't get lost, and then I'll show you how to end. So after single crocheting directly into the next space, you know what to do. You chain up your 4, you single crochet into the next space, and then this is where you put your total of 6 double crochets. Now after you complete your 6 double crochets, you single crochet into the next space, you chain up 4, single crochet into the following space, and this is where you are going to put your total of 6 double crochets. So after putting your 6 double crochets, you just single crochet into the following, and this is how it's going to work, guys. Basically repetition till you meet where the stitch marker is. So you basically make your chain, make your total of 6, you single crochet here, you chain, and then you put your last double crochet here. So I'll show you gradually approaching where the stitch marker is, which is where we are going to put your last double crochet. So after chaining up 4, you skip this whole space and put a double crochet, your last double crochet on top of that double crochet, and then basically slip stitch to join. So just swiftly slip stitch to join, just like this. So now this is how it's looking so far. So you are going to do a number of rows repeating this pattern simultaneously. As I told you, some rows are similar, and you realize that this row we just made is equivalent to row 1 from the beginning of the bust area. The next row is going to be where you do your chains and where you do your chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, which I'm going to demonstrate to you, and then basically everything becomes repetitive. So now you are going to work towards this section from the back. So you'll be going to this section. You are going to chain up a total of 3 as usual to begin the next row. You put a double crochet on top of the next double crochet. So now this is when the chain 1, the 6 double crochets separated by chain 1 begins. So you chain 1 and then put a double crochet into the following, chain 1, put a double crochet into the following, chain 1, put a double crochet into the following, chain 1, put a double crochet into the following. Apart from the chain 3 you made, you are supposed to have a total of 6 separated by chain 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means we are going to do our very last one, chain 1, and put a double crochet there. So you now have 6 double crochets separated by chain 1. So next you are going to chain up a total of 2, single crochet into the middle space, just like this, chain up 2 again, and then continue with your design. Make sure you do your total of 6 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces. So you have 6 now separated by chain 1, and you know what to do. You just chain up 2, single crochet in the space, chain up 2, put your very first double crochet on top of the very first double crochet for the next shell, and make sure you do your 6 double crochets separated by chain 1. So this is the section where you chain up 2, single crochet in the space, chain up 2, and do your total of 6 double crochets separated by chain 1. So you have your total of 6. You know what to do. You chain 2, you single crochet in the space, you chain 2, and then continue with your repetition all around. Now, so this is where the front position begins. This is where the 2 double crochets are lined swiftly. So I'll meet you exactly there, and I'll show you what to do for the front section, but it is basically repetition till you slip stitch to join over here. I'm basically at where the stitch marker is placed, where you have your 2 double crochets lying there. I made sure I did my double crochet, chain 1 double crochet till I had 6 in total for this shell. So I'm basically going to remove my stitch marker and then put my very first double crochet there, and then I put my next double crochet on top of the following. So now you are meeting this chain. you are going to chain a total of 2 single crochet in the middle of this 4 chain from the previous row, chain up 2, and then continue with your shell design. So you are going to put your very first double crochet there in the very first space, separated by chain 1 spaces. So make sure you have a total of 6 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces. As usual, you chain up your 2 single crochet in the middle of the next space, just like this. Chain up 2 again, put your very first double crochet on top of the first double crochet for this shell. So you are going to repeat this simultaneously, making sure that you do your 8 double crochet separated by chain 1, and whenever you get to the chain spaces, you chain 2 and single crochet in the middle, chain 2, and then continue with your design. So getting to where the stitch marker is, this is the very last space for the row. You make sure you chain up 2 after completing your double crochet, chain 1 from this section, and put a single crochet in the space. You chain up 2 again and complete your last double crochet over here. So this is the very last double crochet for the whole row. You make sure you put a double crochet on top, and then you slip stitch to join from the very first chain 3 you made from the previous row. So you are going to make sure that you repeat this row. As I told you, I'll be giving you information in the description which rows are similar for this section, but it's basically the repetition that we did for the front section of the row. So the next row is going to basically include chaining of making chains for the section. So as usual, you begin with a chain of 3 and put a double crochet on top of the next double crochet. You chain up a total of 4. Skip 2 spaces. As I told you, the variation for this is only for the very first section. So you skip this space and then the next space, and in the following space, which is the 3rd space, you put a single crochet there. Now you chain up a total of 4 again. This time, instead of skipping 2 spaces, you are going to skip only 1 space and put a single crochet into the following. So as I told you, the skipping of 2 spaces is only for the first section, and it also applies when we are about to end the row. So after this, you are going to make a chain of 4 and then skip this chain 2s from the previous row and single crochet into the very first space for the next stitch. You realize that you have 2 of the chain 4s always on top of each shell, and then you always chain 4 and skip this space. So this is how the repetition is going to be all around. The only difference with the back panel and the front panel is this 2 double crochets separating, which you always maintain when you are moving on to the front panel. So you make sure that you place your 2 double crochets and then you chain up and skip these 2 spaces. Make sure that you continue by putting your very first single crochet in the very first space, and then continue with your chaining all around to get to the end of the row. So I'll meet you exactly at the end of the row, which is exactly here, and then we begin the following row. So now we are getting to the end of the row, and I already made my chain and single crocheted in the last space. So this is the very last section. I already made my chain 4, and I'm going to put my very last double crochet on top of the final double crochet from the previous row, and then slip stitch to join. So this is basically going to be repetition, and as I told you, each full shell contains a row of 3. So we are basically going to create a new shell which is going to spring up, and this can be seen from the very beginning of the row. So I'll just make sure that I give you the exact information you need for the repetition of the length, but the length actually depends on how long you want your dress pattern. So I repeated a couple of rows as I told you. Each shell design contains of 3 rows repeat, and that's basically how this pattern is going to be. Whenever you make your chains, you are going to create your shell design, which is going to spring up later. This row repeat is when you continue with your shell design. I want to give you a little bit demonstration. So I'm just continuing from where I stopped. This is where you chain and single crochet into the next space and move directly into the following space with a total of 6 double crochets all around. And I just want you to stay updated so that you don't get lost. So I'm going to fast forward actually, because I don't want this video to be extremely long. But if you get this repetition, you can replay and then you can figure your way out from here.
So guys, I went ahead to repeat a number of rows in order to extend the length, and so far the length is a little bit longer, but my skein of yarn got finished in the section. So I want to just quickly show you how to achieve the V-neck feature for the top part or the neckline for this pattern dress. So first of all, to work the V-line, you must know the exact centimeters for the neckline in order to know how to achieve half of it, because you are basically going to work this section in halves and then attach at this part, and then we create the straps for the back. So I measured about almost 12 inch. So make sure it's lying down flat before you measure. So I'll be working it for 6 inch. So I'm supposed to achieve that 6 inch when I increase, because we are basically going to start from the topper part. So this is the excess yarn left. I have 1 full skein of yarn left for this project. I'll be basically showing you the technique for the neckline, which we'll be repeating to like how we normally do for bra caps. However, I'll try as much as possible to know the exact measurements or the adjustments you use for this for other sizes, but this is going to be the one for the size medium. So after making your slip knot, make sure you don't waste your yarn. Set your hook into the slip knot, and then you hold and chain a total of 7. Chaining a total of 7, you are going to count to the 4th space from the hook and put a double crochet there. So 1, you must have a total of 5. Now you go ahead and increase the next stitch. So you chain up to put a double crochet in the same exact space, and then double crochet all the way down. Make sure you put a total of 2 chains for the last double crochet. So this is where you are going to create your straps. You reattach to create your thick straps at this section. You are now going to concentrate on maintaining the shell as well as increasing. So first of all, you make a chain of 3. You put a double crochet in the same exact space. Chain up a total of 4. Skip the next 2 spaces and single crochet into the following. Chain up 4 again, 1, 2. Skip the next 2 spaces and put 2 double crochets in the last double crochet. So 1 and then 2. Your work, you chain up a total of 3. Put a total of 6 double crochet. This time you are not going to double crochet into the next, just go right into the chain 4 and put a total of 6 double crochets in the same exact space. Now slip stitch into the middle just like this. Go into the next space and put a total of 6 double crochets. Skip the next double crochet and put a last double crochet in the very last chain. This is what you're supposed to have. Next, you chain up 3, turn over your work, put a double crochet in the next. Then you chain 1 and put a total of 6 double crochets separated by chain 1, like how we have been doing regularly. Now slip stitch into the very middle.
So at this section, you are going to repeat the same exact thing. Place a double crochet in the very first, chain 1, double crochet. Make sure you have 6 in total.
Make sure you end with your double crochet. So with the next row, you chain up 3, turn over your work, put a double crochet in the same exact space, and now you chain up 3, skip this space, single crochet into the next, chain up 3, skip the next space, single crochet into the next, chain up 4, skip this space, skip the middle, skip the following space and single crochet here, chain up 3, skip the next space, single crochet into the next, chain up 3, put your last double crochet here and make sure you add another one, so 2 double crochets in the last stitch, chain up 3, put a double crochet in the same stitch, total of 6 double crochets and 6, chain up 2, single crochet into the next space, chain up 2, put a total of 6 double crochets, chain up 2 again, single crochet here, chain up 2 and put your final 6 double crochet in this last space. So now make sure you skip the next space and put your total of 2 double crochets in the last. Next row, you chain up 1, 2, 3, turn over your work, double crochet this time into the next stitch, double crochet on top of the very first double crochet for the shell, so put a double crochet there. You know what to do. Make sure you do your double crochet separated by chain 1, so chain 1, double crochet. Now you chain up a total of 3, skip this whole pod and put a double crochet in the very first shell.
So at this point, you are going to repeat the same pattern. Make sure you chain 1 in between and double crochet in or on top of all the shells. When you meet the chain 2 spaces from the previous row, which is a chain 2, single crochet in the middle, chain 2, you just chain 3, go over and then skip and create your double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So I'll meet you at the end of the row.
Make sure you put your final double crochets line there and the last 2 double crochets.
So this is actually the last row I'm going to end with for my size medium, and I'm going to measure the exact inch. I got almost 7 inch, which is cool for my attachments. Anything more than 7 inch would be cool depending on how you make your attachment. So I'm going to make exactly 2 of the same exact thing where I'm going to attach with a single crochet stitch in order to get a V feature. So I'm finally done with 2 of this section. If you were able to follow the same pattern, you should have it simultaneously, and don't worry if it's actually big, because you can decide to leave a little bit side space in order to create more room when you are creating the back straps. So you can join it in anyhow you would prefer, with either a slip stitch or a single crochet, but make sure you turn it upside down so that you end up getting the seam hidden, and you can apply any technique that you want to improvise in joining. So I'm basically going to join it swiftly with a single crochet stitch. But first of all, since I'll be leaving a little room for the straps for the sides. It's optional though. You can decide to join it anyhow you want. So I'll meet you when I'm done with my attachment. But first I slip stitch 3 times before making my very first attachment for the dress pattern, which is the front panel. So I basically slip stitch to join, and then the rest is going to be a single crochet all around till I meet the next one. And that's actually how I join my work.
So now I'm done with the single crochet along, and this is how the front is going to look. You realize that I placed this side on top, so this V shape actually is separated. So that's how the variation is, but you can adjust it for however you want yours to be. So now it's time for you to create the straps, which I'll leave you to, and then create the borders or edging. So I'll do a single crochet along all the edges, and then I'll continue to extend my coverage for the length of the dress, and I'll meet you, show you my finished product. And I hope this tutorial was also helpful.
So guys, this is the final outcome after adding some few edgings and straps as well. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Bye bye.